Hello there, I'm the Western Wonder and you're listening to an episode from the Western Reviews podcast. This episode is a continuation of the anniversary review block, with this week's review celebrating 25 years of its release this month. The movie in particular is Sergeant Bilko. Before I start the review, I'll give you some production and release facts, a listen to the movie trailer and the plot, so be ready to find out what this movie offers. To be updated on future review releases amongst other projects in the works, I think it would be a dutiful honor if you check out my social media pages. On Twitter, you can follow me at reviews_western, or on my Instagram, you can follow me at Western Reviews Official. It'll be a quick drill of a mention at the end of the video. Okay, I'll stop being punny. Moving forward to review split up in parts. For this section, we'll take a look at the production and release information. Sergeant Bilko originally was the brainchild of a 50s show titled The Phil Silver Show, starring comedian Phil Silvers, nicknamed the King of Chutzpah, portraying none other than Sergeant Ernest Bilko. The show aired on CBS and had a nice 4-year run and received 8 Primetime Emmy Awards amongst his accolades. The show's concept carried on to the film. Sergeant Bilko was a quick-witted grifter who sneakily runs questionable money operations with the help of fellow soldier accomplices while fooling his superior officer into believing that he's actually getting work done around his motor pool base. Whether the Silvers' portrayal was interpreted differently by Bilko's actor, renowned comedic actor Steve Martin, will be determined closer to the review's conclusion. The movie was produced by Brian Grazer, directed by Jonathan Lynn, not an unfamiliar name on this podcast, as he also directed the movie Clue, which I reviewed not too long ago, check it out if you haven't, and was distributed by Universal. Unlike the initial television source, the film wasn't well received and grossed less than $38 million over its $39 million budget, and even received a Stinker's Bad Movie Award for worst resurrection of a TV show. Will it hold up for me, the Western Wonder, though? Well, find out shortly. But first, let's take a listen to the trailer and I'll be back with my review.
In today's army, one name stands for pride. One name stands for courage. One name stands for honor. One name stands alone.
Bilko! Yes, my colonel. We have rules and regulations.
Sergeant Ernest G. Bilko.
Let's go, campers! Wakey, wakey! I'm talking about a gambler. A conniver. Any one of these men would take a bullet for you.
Well, not in the chest.
No, not in the chest. Certainly.
A man who will sell you your own mail.
Doesn't the Army issue towels? Army! Get him a set of towels. The fluffy ones. The introductory price.
He's calm under pressure.
Now, where did that one go? Ah! Brass!
Cool under fire.
We've discovered a number of possible irregularities.
Sergeant Bilko! Colonel Hall, you look fantastic, sir. Have you lost weight?
And courageous under attack.
Make the bad man stop.
From Universal Pictures and Imagine Entertainment comes a man whose methods
Let's do the grab the rifle by the bottom thing.
are anything but approved.
You woke me up for reveille?
Drop and give me 20.
Whose orders
All right, 1. We're going for 1.
are anything but regulation.
Are these yours?
It is my understanding that you can no longer ask me these questions, sir.
And whose training is anything but basic.
He wet his bed.
Oh, well, once in a while.
No, he did it from across the room.
So like I mentioned earlier, the show's premise carried on to the movie adaptation, the only difference being that the motor pool in the TV version was based in Kansas, and the motor pool in the film version was based in nowhere but good old California. Yeah. Alongside Martin, who was a popular hosting favorite on variety program Saturday Night Live, a few former alums appear in the film. Dan Aykroyd, who plays Bilko's commanding officer, Phil Hartman, who plays an inspecting officer who's vying to take down Bilko's undercover groove, and his lady, and Chris Rock, who has a brief role as one of the low-key lieutenants. Even the real-life daughter of Phil Silvers, Kathy Silvers, has a part in the movie. The big conflict is Martin trying to cover up his conman blots before Hartman sends him away. Will Bilko be able to save himself? Well, you can find out for yourself, though it should be a clear indicator on how the movie goes by the end. For my thoughts on the movie, it's not as bad as certain audiences say it is, but by no far stretch of the imagination is it great either. In terms of the story, it's your usual military comedy with some funny jokes and conflict implemented somewhere, but it works around that to be its own thing. The beginning of the movie can be a bit of a slow drag, but it eventually finds itself as the tension of the conflict arises and picks up from there. The cast works with what they have. Steve Martin, who does a good job of separating Silver's portrayal of Bilko and doing his own portrayal, does give off some humorous energy from the disgruntled sergeant, even if he doesn't let loose here as much as he does other films. The supporting cast have their moments as well. Glenne Headly is great as Bilko's fiancée Rita, who's given him a chance to marry her as many times as the average person has given to McDonald's ice cream machines. Welcome to McDonald's, how can we take your order? I'm sorry, but our machine is down due to popular demand of the Bilko McFlurry specials. You're probably going to have to try another restaurant. Dan Aykroyd as the commanding officer / sidekick was cool to see, given that, as of the past 2 or so decades, he and Martin haven't collaborated on another film or show since Bilko. While I'm just getting accustomed to his work outside of SNL, Phil Hartman played the snarky, cunning villain well, even if it's a character prototype cinema folks have seen time and time again. I'd like to see him in combat with another major-like character I'll be reviewing later in this week. The character Holbrook, played by Daryl Mitchell, also added a nice change of pace in terms of odd one-out characters, especially in this atmosphere.
Permission to speak freely, Sarge.
Permission. What are we in Russia? Say anything you want.
You men are soldiers, guardians of freedom. And frankly, I don't think there's a man or woman here who's taking their service oath seriously.
You know what? I'm gonna kill him.
Fender! Now this is the stuff they should be teaching in the army.
They are.
No kidding.
He pretty much reacts to Bilko and Co.'s operations like the audience does. Nothing but plain confusion and bewilderment. My overall rating for this movie is a 7.5 out of 10, currently revamping my plenty ratings at the moment, so it'll be numerical ratings for the next few reviews. There's some slow drags here and there, but Bilko is sure to give off some good laughs from the characters within the story. Perhaps it would make you want to experience these events in the universe, or maybe not, that's up to you. I'd rank it up in my top 5 Steve Martin performances I've seen thus far, but I don't think it'll topple the likes of The Jerk or Three Amigos just yet. I am the Western Wonder, and I hope you enjoyed today's review. Hey! Since it's military review week over here at the Western Reviews podcast, no random, right? And there are 2 military comedies being reviewed, be sure to stay tuned for my next review of Major Pain, featuring quite the comedic performance from Damon Wayans. That should be interesting. Like I mentioned early on, if you would like updates on review or skip releases, plus information on the podcast, including another show I'm working on to be unveiled very, very soon, be sure to follow me on my socials, on Instagram at Western Reviews Official, or on my Twitter, which is at Reviews_Western. And on that note, I hope everyone is safe out there enjoying life and podcast, because I know I am. Western Wonder, pieces out. Or bows out, since this is kind of a military review, I don't know. Bye everybody.
This has been a Western Records production. Copyright infringement not intended. We gratefully acknowledge the lack of cooperation from the anti-Western communities. Seriously folks, don't be like them. Until next time on the Western Reviews podcast, we're out of here. Season's 1 final review imminent in the next few weeks.